Very good morning. Myself Sai. I'm part of the Chief Certified AI Security Officer program under the supervision of Subramaniam sir. I would like to take this time to thank the team of BCAA for giving out this opportunity to share these thoughts around having the proper authentication in this real age world, where we have AI prevalence and how the legacy applications can cope up for enhanced security. So authentication is like the basic thing that is needed in this multi globalized communities where everyone wants to access everything from everywhere. What keeps us safe and secure? Well, we are actually accessing an application from one area to another area, and sharing the data from one system to another system, and safely ensuring that the data being shared is only accessed by those people who are authorized to access it. For example, some of the critical day-to-day applications that we do is like the banking systems, healthcare related apps, where some of the personal identifiable information is being shared all across different systems. So what keeps them secure is the authentication. Basically, authentication or user access management is limited to a person who is authorized to access a particular set of data upon the eligibility criteria passing, where he is the person who should need to review the data in order to process a given output. For example, in healthcare field, we have a data that's being shared by the patient for some of his personal health related crisis, and the surgeon needs to review that published data from the machine in order to identify what needs to be processed. So this is something that is needed in that case, while it also need to ensure this data is no one allowed to access across all other teams. So this is achieved through user authentication management, where we have authentication mechanism that is established all across, that ensures to safeguard the data is only managed, or the data is only accessible to those who are eligible to access the data due to the nature of that business. For example, like in the banking system, or in case of any application that we need to support, we have user roles that we equip. So when we say user roles, right, we have some of L1, L2, L3 in order to support them. So it designates the duty of separation, while it also ensures the required applications or actions that a person needs to take in order to support the production is also being parallelly equipped, so that the least privilege of access is achieved. Least privilege of access is nothing but a mechanism that ensures a person is only having visibility, or the accessibility to the data that is only needed in order to ensure the least data that is needed for a specific action to be achieved. So in order to ensure this is achieved, it needs proper user management, and then user role, and then proper authentication mechanism where the user can request access, and then a proper user data management where the user request has to be reviewed and then it will be approved. So this also ensures in order to have stronger mechanism all across the different layers, we can have different kinds of approvals on this request processing, so that another set of eyes will have that achieved, and they will be reviewing it all across, and they will be ensuring that this needed mechanism is something that is has to be approved, and it is passing all of the regulatory requirements, because user management is something like a basic thing that is needed all across the streams, irrespective of banking, healthcare, automotive, or in retail sections as well, where the data theft can be largely minimized by ensuring we have a proper user management access level. On this front, one of the great things that AI can be able to offer us, accessing applications without need to fetch a password. Earlier in the legacy systems, where we used to have a server hosted on-prem, we need to access it by fetching out a password. That is again, someone is actually has to rotate it on a 90-day base, and someone needs to ensure we have a CTC compliance policies. Different organizations used to follow different standards in order to ensure the safety and security of the customers. But with AI and its new technologies that we are able to leverage, something like CyberArk, the password rotation gets to be having, automated, so no person needs to log in, no one needs to actually fetch the password externally out of the system in order to access a login. It's like, Sophia, adoption of Sophia, so that you need to have passwordless session. For that, right, the software requirements and its supports are much needed. Like, traditional app login phase does not support passwordless sessions, but the latest applications that are being developed as software as service, right, they are actually supporting the passwordless sessions because of the token service that is needed behind the screens for authentication purpose. So this ensures at any level we are not in a need to actually fetch a password in order to perform any actions. That ensures the safety and regulations of the applications at the first level itself, so that we don't have to worry. So once a password has been fetched out for so and so action, even though if it is authorized and it is needed, it is different. Like, the applications which are still not there yet to support this passwordless authentication feature needs to be supported, but the plans and action needs to be kept in place in order to ensure that they are aiming towards the journey towards, migrating towards passwordless sessions. This is one of the critical criteria. And many of the organizations, like, banking organizations, multinational companies, are actually moving towards, the passwordless authentication session, so that the passwords at any level are need not to be fetched out, so that we have zero vulnerability at the first place itself. This is one of the key criteria across all of the identity access management levels. Identity access management is like a certification body that actually, employed by every organization in order to ensure that they have proper user access management at all levels of the group. And also they will be supporting all kinds of certifications, like, single sign-on user or on manual login. This is some of the critical thing that is needed. All of the applications, are suggested to use a standard login, that is like, a single sign-on login, where the critical authentication or auth related features are being critically taken care by the SSO, the ID Anywhere system behind the screen, which actually ensures a strong password mechanism of at least 16 digits with, multi characters. Like, you need to have letters, capital, numbers, special characters, and with good strength, which becomes extremely hard for a attacker in order to decode that, and in order to, gain a unauthenticated login access to the application. This ensures the critical safety at that point of time. And also one of the key thing is adoption of authenticated, automated user commissioning tools, something like my access, which actually ensures, the moment the user raises an access, that user access will be taken care by the authentication gateway behind the screens, which, utilizes a specific set of APIs configured for that application behind the screens, while governing to ensure it is following all the legal standards and processes governing that are levied or followed by the organization, and also ensuring that the user commission on that application is taken place in an automatic gateway, so that the user at any point of time need not to log in. Once the approval mechanisms are done, something like user raises an access request, and his immediate manager reviews and approves it, and then it goes to the concerning product, or with respect to, cybersecurity organizations, they are adopting iOS information owners, or with respect to control owners, they review the access and ensure that is the correct access that that person belonging to that particular level of business needs to have. They will approve it, and then it goes to the IAM, the access management fulfillment level, where my access kind of applications will be automating it, ensuring that no login is needed by a manual process at any stage of life. The applications need to aim to move to that such level, so that they support zero password fetching, so that, we have zero vulnerability at first level itself, in order to ensure we are safe, strong, while we also ensure no attackers will be able to gain any insights about the password mechanisms that we are adopting. This is one of the key and critical thing. And on top of it, right, one of the most other thing that we need to ensure is we are going towards, adoption of AI mechanisms. When we have AI mechanisms, we will be governed by various bodies, something like, group data policy, GDPR, and with respect to PCI DSS, where it is critically mandated that we have our servers hosted within, demilitarized zone, something like exempted area where no one would be able to enter so easily unless they go through firewall set of actions, which is like, a critical path, and it becomes extremely hard to decode it. And having those servers accessed is one of the very critical thing. And adoption of passwordless authentication mechanisms are very critical in those, areas. And the other thing is like, we need to ensure we have our users well trained in adoption of this, proper user access management and, password sharing mechanisms and all. Every organization needs to train their employees to ensure they have the much needed skills of how they should rotate these passwords, how they should adopt this user access management, how we can still evolve to ensure we only have the concept of least access of privilege, so that no one at any point of time will gain any other access levels than what they are entitled to be, gaining through. And also I would also, request to call out the organizations to ensure they have a governing body or an internal regulation or risk compliance team that reviews any applications who still does not do the automatic user commission but does through manual, get their user access management, user feed data reviewed on a daily mechanism in order to ensure the application which is being commissioned with manual user mechanism and the backend system where the access are holded are still in sync by, doing a quarterly audit or, an audit in 1 6 months, so that, they can ensure that proper users access management is levied all across the systems, and they are well equipped to ensure the safety and security of the users who are accessing that application are well within the safety standards. So this is one of the thing that I would like to share with the entire team. Thanks again for this opportunity. Bye.